Wheat School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Syngenta Canada, Alberta Wheat Commission, and C&M Seeds.
Hi everyone, I'm Bernard Tobin and welcome to RealAgriculture.com. Well, we've got a special segment today. We're here with Peter Johnson, Wheat Pete, Ontario Cereals Specialist for the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture and Food. Welcome, sir. Thanks for taking some time.
Thanks very much for having me again, Bert.
Awesome. So what some of you people may not know is that Peter has announced that he's going to retire from the ministry after 30 years, coming early in the new year. And we thought it'd be great to sit down and talk about 30 years of Wheat Pete and working at the ministry, talk about the past, talk about and the future. And so let's go back a little ways. I remember the first time I heard you speak, about over 20 years ago at a farmers meeting. And you were indeed the wild man. And incredible passion, incredible energy, incredible, just drive to help, farmers, and just keyed in so much into the energy of farming. Tell us about, what makes you tick? Where does all that passion come from?
That's a really good question, Bernard, and I'm not absolutely sure, but what I will tell you is that I've always been like this. It's just who Johnson is, and I love it. I love that part. I can't go halfway. If I'm going to do something, I have to give it 172.3%, and that just means if you're in agriculture, you have the passion for agriculture, and you try to drive it forward. And so where does that come from? I guess it comes from my mom and dad. I can't explain it any other way, but I love my job. I think that's a huge part of it. When I get up in the morning, it's not work, it's fun. I look forward to it because I get to interact with people and all this new information. So I think that's what drives me, is that there's always something new, there's always somebody challenging me, and that's very, very cool. And it's hard not to be passionate when you love what you do.
Yeah. Hey, look back in the last 30 years. Maybe there's a few moments, a few aha moments where, that really stand out for you, whether it's people, whether it's some research trials, some moments with farmers, some things happening in the field. A couple of things come to mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of funny, it will be 30 years exactly on February the 4th.
Okay.
And that's my last day with the ministry, other than some vacation, but it really doesn't count. So that's why it's February 4th, because I wanted to make 30 years. Do you know why I was hired? I was hired because I took a welding course, and they wanted me to build a planter that would no-till corn into the 401. That was the goal. And
did you achieve that?
And so I did. I think, maybe not the 401, that'd be quite, but we could plant no-till corn anywhere. It didn't matter how tough the soil was, we could do that. So one of the aha moments was how much better we could do with less tillage. And I'm actually really disappointed with the growers out there, because we've slipped back from doing less tillage, and we have to get back there. We have to get back to that thought process of protecting the soil and figuring out why growers think no-till doesn't work. So that's one of my next challenges, is to get back there, because I want to get back there. Some of the other real moments in my career, one of the ones you might find surprising was I watched the Ontario Wheat Board walk away from single desk marketing. And I didn't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing at the time. One of the greatest things in my career. So to Terry Ross and Ken Nixon, kind of the people that had the thought process to make that happen, as soon as that happened, wheat acres in this province went up. People had more interest in wheat. My job became more fun. So that was really cool as well. Another aha moment, we've talked about it lots, is this nitrogen by fungicide synergy. It's such a cool thing. It's kind of the one major step forward that everybody hopes they can make in their career, and that's sort of my moment, if you will, in my career. There's lots of other things. We got to go to Argentina with my job and to a wheat conference, the 7th International Wheat Symposium. That was very cool, but lots of things. But those would be some of the key moments for me.
Let's talk a little bit more about your wheat crop. Obviously, you're famous for your wheat crop and your passion for wheat. Talk a little bit about wheat over the years. It's kind of tough now. Tough to compete for acres with corn and soybeans. What's going to happen with wheat? besides some better fall weather, of course.
Yeah.
Get more acres.
Yeah, so I really think we have learned in Ontario, and I actually think Ontario's at the leading edge of this. I think we lead the way. We have learned how important wheat is for soil health and in the rotation. But I still have to make it profitable. And when you step back and try to sort that out, I mean, hybrid corn did huge things for corn. If you look at hybrid wheat, I don't think it cuts it. We don't get the big heterosis jump there. We only get a 10 or a 15% yield increase. I don't know if that's enough to make the big steps forward. Part of it's genetics, the other part's management. I wonder if there's somewhere in there that we can make more headway by understanding that it fits in the rotation. And when you mention better fall weather, another one of my major focuses is if we're going to grow IP soybeans, we really have to start saying to get a good IP soybean, we have to harvest early when it's dry and we don't mud tag it and we can run longer hours and get that $3 a bushel premium. I think we have to push growers to say yes, that's right, so grow a shorter season, plant early, short season IP, give up 2 or 3 bushels in yield, get your $3 premium, and then you get your wheat in on time, and now I have the 140 bushel yield potential. As to where we go past that, it's a really good question. We can do all sorts of things with biotechnology. Wheat doesn't have biotechnology in it yet. I think there's some really exciting things, fusarium resistance, lots of stuff there. I think the sky's the limit, but which one will turn out to be the silver bullet or the golden egg of wheat? I just don't know yet. We still have to keep working.
Good stuff. So Peter, let's talk about ag research. You've been a part of it for a long, long time. Let's talk about the future. What needs to happen now? You mentioned in wheat, so hybrids may not be, the silver bullet. From a research perspective, what needs to happen going forward now to push farmers into that area? You're getting sustainable profitability. What role can research play?
So I actually think that research has an incredible opportunity to continue to move the bar forward. And I think farmers have this really great option to get involved, particularly with all this GPS, we know where we are in the field, we have yield monitors, a whole bunch of stuff there that we can do, that the grower can do under his own conditions. And I don't think we've tapped that yet. And so actually when I was in Winnipeg, just recently, that was part of my talk, was to try to push the Western farmers to do more of this. And Greg Stewart has some great stuff in corn with delta yield, where if we just put little blocks in our management zones, that the grower can actually figure out himself what his own nitrogen rate should be for that field, for that year, and sort of build that history. From a research perspective, I think we still have to keep stretching the envelope or look outside the box, because there are things that will give growers a big step forward. But I'm not sure what those are. We just have to keep at it. It's hard work, and it's been a great part of my career, absolutely. In fact, I sort of evolved into that as well. Didn't do so much of that back when I started 30 years ago, but it's really cool to get out there and look and see what does a growth regulator do, and how can we utilize that, and does it have a fit, and what about, I don't know, this new biological. There's lots of biologicals, and a lot of them have big claims, and we're not so sure they have all that much money in the bank when you actually look at the results. So lots of things to look at yet.
Let's talk a little bit about agricultural extension and technology transfer and how that's changed. I mean, we've seen massive changes at the ministry over the years, and now we're in social media. You're getting bigger and bigger on Twitter all the time at Wheat Pete. How has that changed, in recent years, and where does that relationship between researcher and information and farmer go?
So I really think that it's researchers, to be good at what they do now, have to get involved in social media. And you're right, I love Twitter. Why do I love Twitter? Because people have to decide to follow me.
Okay.
And if I do a lousy job at tweeting, then they can unfollow me, and it's entirely at their discretion. So that's a really good indicator of whether or not you're tweeting out information that's of value to them. And so I think we have to continue down that road. And you can use other, Facebook, Instagram, all those things. I'm a Twitter guy, but that's whatever. I really think that social media has this big play, and I think researchers now have to get involved because, like any other media, there's lots of good information and there's lots of misinformation. And so if you step back and don't get involved and there's the misinformation, well, who's going to address that? So I really think that's part of it. And from a technology transfer standpoint, wow. When I first started, I didn't even have a cell phone, right? No computer, no cell phone. I got in my truck and you drove and you had to go in at lunch to a payphone and phone the office to get, however many pink slips, they'd read off your messages, you'd write them down and phone those farmers back at lunch because that's when they were in, and make up your afternoon to go look at problems. Nowadays, you have a problem, you take a good snapshot up on Twitter and you can have 17 different opinions in a flash. So I really think it's sort of like the snowball, and the snowball is moving so fast. And the big challenge for researchers and growers alike will be to try and figure out who to follow, who to listen to, and how to stay ahead.
Okay.
That's tough.
Where's the good information coming from? So let's talk about the future. I mean, I know you're not riding off in the sunset here, right? You haven't. So talk about where you see yourself fitting in here. I mean, I think you probably, it's not etched in stone now, but you want to be active.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm retiring from the ministry because I'm able to bridge to my 90 factor. Yeah. If you understand how things work with pension, I couldn't retire before my 90 factor. The penalty was too big. But I'm not really retiring. I'm exiting the ministry.
Right.
And I am just as keen to stay involved in agriculture today as I was 30 years ago. In fact, maybe more so, because I'm having lots of fun and I get to interact with great growers. And so I want to keep doing that. Whatever comes my way, it is not really determined yet, but there's lots of fun things to do out there. I love speaking to farmers and challenging them. So if you're looking for a speaker, call me. I'm interested.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, but I really am hopeful that I can stay independent. That one of the great things about working for the Ministry of Agriculture was that I didn't have to push any product that I didn't believe in or wasn't the number one product because it happened to be one of my company's products. And that's nothing against company people. They do the best they can, but in the lineup it's rare to have all the best, just the way that it works. So that is nice about the ministry, that I've been able to be independent, do my own research, figure out what's the best, promote the best. That's what I want to keep doing. I want to make sure that whatever I'm talking about is the right thing for the grower. And if I can do that and people will listen to me, I can keep having fun, and that's what I'm all about.
Awesome. So we're going to see you at the Southwest Ag Conference and a lot of farmer meetings this winter. And so come on up and ask Peter, what is he doing? Pin him down, find out where he's going to be. Sir, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's fun working with you at the ministry, and I know we'll be doing a lot of this in the future.
Hope so.
Good stuff.